to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing about how fantastic old Landcruiser Toyotas are. Toyota Landcruisers are. That's what I was trying to say. Then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is Tyler. Joining me for another episode is the one and only Mr. Jimmy Jet. Mr. Jimmy Jet, how are you, buddy?
I am doing tired.
You're doing tired?
Yeah, I was going to say but I'm going to be honest. I'm tired.
Did you have a late night last night or?
No, I actually went to bed early.
Did you get
The assistant went to bed was in bed by like 9.
Oh.
And I was like, I'm not going to bed yet. And by like 9:20, I was in bed. I was like, all right, I'm tired too.
Nice.
But I had a busy day yesterday, which we'll talk about.
Okay. It was a Monday.
It was a Monday.
All right. Well, we'll talk about it.
Yep.
Let's see. We have a lot going on this month still.
We got a lot going on. Where shall we start?
Oh, man. Let's just remind everybody of what's going on, and then we'll get into our wieners.
Okay, good.
So what do we got going on?
Well, we've got giveaways going on all month.
Okay.
Right? We've got one that just started on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
We have one that ended on Sunday, and that we're going to announce the winners today. We've got a giveaway going on for our monthly subscribers, monthly followers on the Snail Squad. We have Walter is doing their giveaway, and we have another giveaway in adjacent to them. We have review giveaways going on. I think that's it.
Okay, good.
We have the Sully Bun stuff that you could donate to.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think that's it.
Cool.
There.
You could always donate stuff to the Rubicon Trail too.
Yes.
I had somebody do that recently.
Sweet.
So
good for them. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see, man. So the monthly giveaway is for a mag drill this month.
Dude, so cool.
It's pretty freaking awesome. So just FYI, it's going to be well used and you'll get it in 2 years.
Sure.
Just a heads up.
Might not have a magnet on it anymore.
Yeah. But we have a mag drill mini for you guys from Walter Surface Technologies. Super freaking rad of them to do that. That is going to be available to get signed up for over on iRate 4x4. Go to the Snail Trail 4x4 forum, select the monthly giveaway tier, and that's where all that is at. You have to be signed up before the end of the month. Otherwise, no mag drill for you. No chances at a mag drill for you either. So
no dice.
No dice. Nope. We just did that. The weekly giveaway last week was for...
Well, it was for a variety of consumables.
That's right.
Yep.
The variety pack, consumable variety pack. So we have a winner for that, right?
We have 5 winners.
5. Oh my God.
We have 5 winners. So the contest was guess how many SKUs Walter has.
Yes.
Right. And Lawless Corey told us in the episode, it was like, I have it written down here. It's 15,684.
That's a lot. And so did anybody guess it?
Nobody guessed it.
Ooh.
Exactly.
So nobody gets an extra $100.
I think we even said
$1,000.
$1,000.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad.
Nobody guessed it exactly.
Thank God.
Thank goodness. We did have one person get within 100 SKUs though. They guessed 15,600.
Is that our top one then?
That is our top one, the best one. And that was Beardylockss.
Beardylockss.
Yep.
I don't know if I've heard of Beardylockss.
Lockss.
Oh, Locks.
Locks.
He has a lot of beard locks.
I guess.
A lot of them.
He's gold. He's
a lot
golden
of plurals.
Beardy locks. Yeah, pearl locks. 15,600. Congratulations.
Yep.
You won a variety pack of abrasives from Walter. Let's see. Number 2 was 15,432.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. That was a close one. That was Meek Off-Road. MEAK Off-Road.
Okay. All right.
Number 3, Tyler Lopez 4223.
I thought you were going to say Tyler Larson.
Sorry, no.
Man.
He guessed 14,362.
Okay.
Number 4, King _of_the_square_ bodies.
Okay. King of the square bodies.
King of the square bodies, 14,294.
Congratulations, Your Highness.
Yes. Yeah, King. Good job. Funny. Nice one.
Thank you.
Number 5 was KG7BTU.
I don't know any of these people.
I don't either.
Who are these people?
13,986.
Wow. So
6th was Weld's Taco.
Oh, Rob, just out of there.
13,910.
We can send Rob a 6-inch flapper disc.
We'll send him one grinding wheel.
Yeah. That's cool. Congratulations, everybody. You guys won some variety packs of abrasives from Walter Surface Technologies. Pretty cool stuff. They do a really, really good job with abrasives and surface prep stuff.
Fantastic.
So
I took home after talking with Lawless Corey. We got to take home some of those samples this weekend. I got to finish the welding table.
Yeah.
And man, that they have that speed flapper. I forgot what they called it. The one that had more flaps, more of the flap exposed.
Yeah.
That thing rips.
Does it?
It was awesome. It doesn't. It takes the mill scale off like no other, but it didn't last as long, right? Because it's so aggressive. It's just ripping out the metal. And so I used it up super quick, and then I had to go back to a normal one, and I was all sad. I was like, oh man, but that thing was awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a lot of fun. I also got to use the e-spray.
Oh yeah.
For the
welding, the nozzle.
And that worked. I've never used one or the dip or any of the other kind, and I thought it worked fantastic.
So did you do it on the surface or on your nozzle?
I did it into the nozzle.
Okay. And didn't get any accumulation?
You have to let it dry for like a few minutes. So it's not something like, I know the dip one, like you can just dip it and then start welding, and you have to dip like every time before you start and stop welding, I think. This one, I sprayed it on and I went almost the whole day, or I did a lot of welding with it, and I'd never sprayed any more back on. And by the end of my session of welding, I don't know how long I used it specifically, it started to accumulate stuff.
Wow.
And so if I stopped at some point and probably needed to let the gun cool, I'm not sure if you can just spray it on with it being hot, sprayed it on, let it dry again and keep going, I would have not had any accumulation. Wow.
That's impressive, because when I'm welding gas, right, I end up getting a pretty good accumulation. I have to knock all the crap out of there about once an hour, once every 45 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it worked great.
Nice.
I was like, once again, I think it worked fantastic. I have nothing really to compare it to, though. Okay. So I've never used any other product, but I didn't have to clear the nozzle as much as I normally do.
Nice.
So that was really nice.
Cool.
Yeah, that stuff worked great too. So
Sweet.
Everything that we covered, it was really cool. And
cool. I like it.
It was fun to cover that and then take it home that weekend
and play around with it
and then
all.
get to use it and see how it worked. But
nice.
Yeah, for sure. So those are the 5 winners. If I don't reach out to you by the time this airs, reach out to me. We're going to need your contact information, and so we can send you out something. And then, so this week we have another giveaway going on.
Did anybody go over?
Yes.
Because we had mentioned that
Cynthia.
Price is Right rules.
Cynthia went over.
Who's Cynthia?
The one that won last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we got in contact. We were kind of off air. I think we were going like, who's Cynthia? Why do we have a Cynthia? And we also commented, she tagged Wheeling Wine and Whiskey.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
So Cynthia's husband probably doesn't have social media, but he was one of our Snail Squad subscribers like a month or so ago.
That's funny.
So she's a legit person.
We're getting all fishy because we have a female listener that we think we can.
Female, yeah. Who has a female listener that tags Wheeling Wine and Whiskey?
Yeah, right.
What the hell?
I think it was really Chris.
Probably.
Christopher did it. That's his weekend name is Cynthia.
Yeah, Cynthia was the only one that went over, but she was over. She said like 22,000.
Oh, okay.
So she wasn't just barely over. That was close. We did have a gentleman, Mudhorn Gladiator, who I have done a panel for, and I know is a listener of the show, commented after Monday's episode was released.
Did he get the right answer?
No, he didn't. Oh. He guessed, I think it was 15,680.
Oh,
not 84.
84.
So I don't know. We technically closed the competition on Sunday in the message. And he commented Monday morning. And then after his I realized somebody commented, so I closed the commenting. But sorry, Mudhorn Gladiator. You posted after the competition was closed.
He knew what he was doing.
He totally. It's like, I listened to this. It's still up. They haven't done it. They haven't announced it yet. They don't record till Tuesday. They're not going to notice.
Yeah, exactly. He knew exactly what he was doing.
So,
cool. Fun stuff. So we got those 5 winners. We have 2 winners coming up for this week.
No. Yes. No. What? We have the grinder going on right now.
That's right. The grinder. And next week is the 2 winners.
We have 2 winners.
Gotcha.
Yep, our favorite way. You tag one friend and you and your friend win something.
Yep. That's always a fun one. That's our favorite one to do. So we'll talk about that one on Monday's episode, the details about that one, but be paying attention to the Snail Trail 4x4 Instagram account. That's where all these weekly giveaways are happening at. And then the monthly one over on iRate 4x4. Walter has theirs that we have been kind of alluding to and talking to. Chance to win a 2-year lease on a 2024 F-150 Tremor. All you got to do is go into your local welding supply store, find the specially marked Walter, Drillco, or Triumph products, and take a picture of it. And then you can scan the QR code that will be on the products as well. There's also, we're going to try and get the QR code down in the show notes for you guys. Scan it and enter your details and your picture and everything into that QR code. Along with that giveaway, though, because they're doing monthly giveaways for small products, and the grand giveaway, the grand drawing is in November. Snail Trail 4x4 is doing one kind of in conjunction with them. Kind of like how we did with Gear Wrench last time when Gear Wrench was doing all the tools through Home Depot, I think it was.
Right. Yep.
So if you go into your local welding supply store and do the exact same thing of what you did, take what you entered for the Walter giveaway and also send it to us. Now, here's the caveat. You'll get 1 point for sending that to us. You get a second point if you have a receipt to go along that shows you purchased one of the items at your welding supply store. And then we'll do a drawing at the end of August, probably announce it in September, for our own giveaway of some fun stuff from Walter as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's 2 separate giveaways going on, one for Walter National and then one for Snail Trail 4x4, in conjunction with that. So
yeah, a lot of giveaways happening.
Yep.
For sure. We also got the giveaway that is our, reviews on Apple Podcast. So go over there and leave a review, get yourself entered to win swag pack at 700, and at 750, we're giving away a set of tires from Yokohama Tire.
Yep. Pretty cool stuff. You guys can get some 40-inch mud terrains at no charge. Pretty sweet.
I'm going to win that one.
Over my dead body.
Well, you said you were going to win the mag drill.
Okay, I'll take the mag drill.
I win the tires.
I have an accumulation of tires in the warehouse anyways right now.
Yeah.
So I'm hoarding
you're
tires.
In competition with the Capreras.
I am. I'm trying to figure out who can order more, who can have more on hand. So anyways, I'll take the mag drill. You can have the tires.
Okay.
Sweet.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Glad we figured that out.
Me too. Let's see. Anything else we got going on?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's good enough.
That's good enough. We got some good stuff going on. So if you guys are one of these winners each week, and you're listening to the podcast and we announce your names, we haven't reached out to you yet, please reach out to us. There's a lot going on to keep track of all this. And we don't want anybody to fall through the cracks, and make sure that you get some pretty cool Walter stuff. So make sure you get in touch with us if you are one of the winners.
I'll go over them really quick again, and not in any particular order, because the order didn't matter that much, because you all win. We got Meek Off-Road. We have King of the Square Bodies. We have Beardylockss, Tyler Lopez, 4223, KG7 BTU. Those are the people that won.
Sweet. Get in contact with us. We'll get in contact with you. Let's see. Anything else? I don't think so. Yeah.
Let's jump over to what in the butt.
All right, man. I've done nothing.
Cool.
Absolutely nothing.
Not 100% true, but
I haven't done anything off-road related. I did some work around the house. We're trying to redo the backyard, or add to the backyard to make it a little bit more fun to sit out there with the kid kind of thing. And then we're looking at possibly going to do a night at Sierra Trek.
Oh,
And hopefully by the end of the summer, we want to go try and do a weekend on Barrett Lake.
Okay.
So we're kind of trying to build up for that and start training the kid not to sleep in his motorized bassinet with noise and everything. So that's where we're at. And I'm hoping I get to do an overnight trip sometime this year. So we'll see. Cross my fingers.
I got you.
Cross my fingers.
I got 2 of them.
Yep.
Ninja Turtle it.
How do you?
You can't cross those?
I got it.
Good job.
I got it.
Now do it on your other hand.
I think I could do that one. Hold on. No, I can't do that one. That one's even worse than the left hand.
That's funny. Yeah, so that's good. I mean, I'm glad. Are you doing next training still? Or I saw a picture of him upright in like a bouncy thing?
Yeah, he has a little bouncer. He's actually getting to the point where he wants to be standing up.
Okay.
And so you just and he pretty much can hold himself up. He just can't balance well.
Sure.
So you just kind of have to hold him and keep him from falling over, but he can lock his knees and stand up.
Right.
And so he's been doing a lot of that. So we finally bought him a bouncer that he can kind of sit in, but the bouncer doesn't go quite down far enough to the floor. So I have to put a little footstool underneath him.
I was going to say, it's not that the bouncer doesn't go far enough. He's not big enough.
He's not big enough. Yeah, exactly. And so we have to put a little footstool under it and he can bounce around, and it's like a sensory overload for him when he gets in there. But other than that, his head training has actually gone really, really well. He's got pretty damn good head control. Like we can't shake him around or anything yet. Yeah. I've tried, but it doesn't. I'm just kidding. No, but I'll like toss him up in the air and do Superman. With him, and he can hold his head. You and the
secretary hold a sheet and just throw him up on it.
Yes. Yeah. So he's got really good head control. He started early teething, 3 months old.
Dang.
So he seems like he's developing relatively fast compared to most infants and newborns, which hopefully bodes really well for being able to get him out on trails sooner.
Cool.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Glad to hear it. When what is he's like 3 months now?
3.5. Yeah.
3.5 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew he was being fussy when I held him when he was in the shop like a week ago.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I asked the secretary, I'm like, is he just like this right now? Or is he, you know, what's going on? She said, no, he's starting to teeth. I'm like, oh man, that sucks.
Yep.
All right. Before we move on, I just remembered that we got this letter in from our favorite stripper.
I was wondering, I saw this here and I thought it was like an invoice that you had left here in the studio.
I thought so too.
Okay.
But it was addressed to me here.
Oh.
And I'm like, that's weird. So I opened it up because I thought it might have been an invoice because I get my panels done there. I opened it up. I saw what's inside, but I didn't read the letter. And I knew he was going to get this to me, but I thought you can go forward with it from there.
Okay. So this is from our favorite stripper.
I think it's for me. I just thought you should open it.
Okay. That's fine. That's what I did with Carnage's thing. So. All right. This is from Reed over at American Stripping, our favorite stripper. He calls in and gives us advice on plating and clear coating stuff. Says, "Dear Jimmy, enclosed is something I think you'll find pretty cool. A sticker from the good old Inchworm gear. I'm pretty sure this is one of the last ones in existence. I wouldn't be surprised if I made this sticker almost 20 years ago when I was working there. So it's a bit of a relic, like me. Feel free to do with it as you will. Frame it, stick it on something, or just keep it as a piece of nostalgia. Cheers, Reed Bendix."
Yeah. Thought that was pretty cool.
The Inchworm gear sticker.
Yeah. It's really neat looking.
Yeah, it is.
It's long too. I thought you unfolded it. I was like, I only remembered smaller ones.
Yeah. So it's, you can't really see it. It's in the vinyl, but and see if we can get that on the camera at all. But yeah, it's the Inchworm logo with the kind of the inchworm that looks, it's like in the shape of a worm almost. Inchworm gear. Like
and there's it's worming.
Yeah. And then there's a truck on top of it, kind of crawling over some of the words.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a relic. That's Inchworm has been defunct now for how long? Do you know how many years?
I don't remember. No, a little while.
But they were one of the kind of the first companies to come around, I believe, after Marlin started the dual case adapters.
Yep. Exactly.
Apparently Reed used to work there, and he worked there quite a bit at Inchworm. And so he knows a lot about Toyota transfer cases and transmissions and how things adapt together.
Yep.
So we'll pick Reed's brain every once in a while on stuff like that. So
yeah, I was down at the shop, either dropping off panels or picking them up. And he's like, I got some stuff for you. And he's like, I got one of the original stickers, And so he was digging through this like ammo can thing and he couldn't find it. But he found some other old stickers and some other cool stuff. And then he gave me 2 Utah plates, I think they were, that I need to bring in and add to the collection. So he's following up by sending the sticker in.
Gotcha.
So that was really cool, Reed. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, one cool thing that Inchworm did that I don't think Marlin ever did was they created a 180 clockable adapter.
Oh.
So you could take the chain-driven Toyota T cases, and put them on passenger drop axles.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it essentially almost turns your T case upside down.
Yeah.
And then they had a whole cap off thing and ways to get the shifters back up top.
Yeah, I was
to your
just
floorboard.
thinking about all of that. But man,
that was one thing that I believe Inchworm did, because I think that's what my dad had when he had his automatic transmission in his truck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Neat.
Yep.
So yeah, thanks for dropping that off.
Yeah.
Or sending that in, whatever it was. Let's see. I had a fairly busy weekend, which maybe is the reason I'm tired still. Yeah. Where to start? So Friday, Thursday, I spent a chunk of the day like getting a lot of pipe square tubing and stuff ready to start welding. Then Friday, I went to town on finishing and building out the welding table.
Okay.
It took me, I had one pair of legs sort of done, right? Like the small side kind of finished.
Okay.
And so I had to build the other side and then tie them together with some cross beams and all that to go. I probably spent another 6 hours on Friday, more or less getting that table like almost all the way done.
Okay.
And then I spent another 3 to 4 hours on Saturday, just getting it fine tuned. And a lot of my Saturday was spent on painting it and grinding a little bit down so I could put the table on the top, painting the stand and drilling the holes in the plate because I bolted the table to the plate instead of welding it to the plate.
Okay.
Because the Yes welder is okay that I have. It's not super hot. I could have preheated the plate, but I figured, I can just drill a hole and tap it. Yeah. And bolt it all together.
So did you drill the hole all the way through the plate or just part way through?
No.
I think you were talking about doing part way, right?
Good question. I did part way through. I drilled roughly about 3/4 of an inch into the plate. The plate is 1 1/8 inch thick. Okay. And then I bought 1 inch hardware. I had some 1/4 inch plate laying around in the shop that was 4 pieces that looked very, very similar to each other, had 2 flat sides, and then it was sort of rounded. Okay. And so I just welded those into place, and they already had a big hole in them. Okay. Like a 5/8 drilled hole or something like that. And then, so I bought 5/8 hardware, 5/8 by 1 inch hardware. Okay. No, excuse me. It was 9/16 hardware. Okay. And what was funky was I went to the Ace hardware store, and they did not have any 9/16 grade 5 hardware.
Really?
Yeah.
Ace didn't?
Ace didn't.
Were they just out, or did they not even have a spot for it?
They don't stock it.
What?
Yeah, I went.
Interesting.
I went up to the counter and I was like, I'm having an issue with hardware. Can I have some help? And they sent over the hardware guy. And I was like, I can't find any 9/16 grade 5 hardware. Yeah. And he's like, oh, we don't have it. I don't have room for it. So we have 1/2 inch and we have 5/8, just not 9/16. He's like, there's not enough room for it. And I'm missing it over here too, but I have it in grade 8. And I was like, I don't need grade 8. It's not going to be doing that. But I was like, I'll go up. Maybe I'll just go up to 5/8 and I'll drill the hole maybe a little larger if I need to. Okay. And then I was like, a 5/8 by 1 was like $2 for a bolt. And the 9/16 by 1 grade 8 was like $1.79. I was like, okay, I'll just go to grade 8. Whatever. Yeah. So I got a 3/4 inch hole in the plate, a 1/4 inch plate that had the hole in it, a washer and a lock washer. So, and a 1 inch bolt in it. And I didn't bottom out the bolt. So yeah, that worked well. So I drilled the holes. I drilled 1/2 inch holes. I broke 3 drill bits.
Ouch.
Doing
1/2 inch drill bits?
No. There was at least, I broke a 1/2 inch drill bit. I broke like what would it be? It would be like, I don't know.
4/8, so 8/16, 16/30, so 15/30 seconds.
15, yeah, something like that. A 15/30 second or 14, 15/30 second. And then I broke another random one. I don't remember what it was. A smaller one because I tried. So I think I was just being too slow with the drill and pushing too hard at the same time. Right. Yeah. So my speed, I was doing it with a hand drill. My speed, I think was too slow, and I was just putting too much force down. So because I don't know why I was thinking this. So I pre-drilled the hole, and then I was going to step up a drill size, and I started going, and that's probably the next one I broke, which was like probably a 1/4 inch or something like that. Like I did a small one, and it wasn't going that well. So then I went up to like a 1/4 inch and I started going, and then it caught and it just broke, and it broke inside. And I'm like, oh no, like this is where I need the hole. Yeah. Like I could adjust, but I was like, if anybody looked underneath the table, I would have one hole that's not in like the same spot, whatever. So I got frustrated. I tried hitting it out, knocking it out, picking it out, trying to get it all out, got frustrated. So I went to the second hole. And I just started with, went and got like a 3/8 impact bit and just held it down and went down 3/4 of an inch, and it worked perfect. I was like, okay, I'm going to do that the rest of the way. Yeah. Right. So then I did the rest of the way. And then I went up to, I think roughly a 1/2 inch, and I started drilling that out on the first hole. And then I think I broke another bit. And I was like, what the? And at this point, I went to not the impact drill. I was on a normal drill. And I was on the speed 1 of 2. And I wasn't pulling the trigger all the way down. And as soon as it would catch. It would rip like out of my hand. Jeez. Right. And it would catch and like do the wrist breaker. So I was like, I'm hurting myself. So yeah, I was the plate was on a furniture dolly, which I have no idea how that furniture dolly held that weight. So it was only like ankle high. Yeah. And the holes I was drilling were far enough out that I could position myself so that I could more or less put the battery of the drill against my calf. Okay. And so then if it caught, it would
catch and hit your calf.
And get stopped by my leg.
Okay. Rather than your wrist.
Rather than breaking my wrist. Yeah. So I had that happen, and then I broke another drill bit because my leg stopped it, but it was still under power and just shattered a drill bit. So I don't know exactly why I kept breaking drill bits. So then I went down a size. I was able to pull that one out. I went down just barely, and I started drilling again, and it kept catching. Like it kept catching and kept catching. And so then I got frustrated with that hole. So I went to the third hole now. And then I broke another drill bit on that next size. And then, so I called the assistant who happened to be out in town, and I said, I need a 1/2 inch drill bit. I like go to the hardware store, go pick me up a 1/2 inch drill bit. She came back with an impact 1/2 inch drill bit. Okay. So it went right into the impact gun, 1/4 inch impact gun. And so with the impact gun, I just go full speed, right? I'm just like, hold it down, press, and it kept catching too. And so I was like,
but
okay.
The impact would kind of
like get it to go. Yeah. And I go, this is weird. So I'm just not going to push hard. Okay. Like I'm just going to put it in place. And if it catches, it'll just kind of like impact its way sort of through it, but then it'll go. So I full bore, lightly pressing down. I was using tapping oil the whole entire time or, some sort of cutting oil. And with that 1/4 inch impact 1/2 inch bit, I was able to do the whole thing. The rest of it, no problem.
Interesting.
So I don't know if I was pushing too hard and too slow of a speed, and it was just eating so much metal that it was digging itself down, and then it was just causing, the torque was causing it to break. So maybe I should have been faster speed, less pressure, and I would have been okay. Maybe, I'm not sure entirely why I kept breaking bits.
Yeah.
And maybe I just don't know my drill science well enough.
Maybe.
At some point, I told you this off air. At some point, I thought about how the hell do I lift this up and get it in my drill press?
Yeah.
Right? Because or having a mag drill would have been fantastic at this point.
Yeah.
But so I did eventually cut it a 1/2 inch hole, 3/4 inch deep, more or less 3/4 inch deep. And then I used the gear wrench tapping kit, which is fantastic.
Yep.
And they had a 9/16 by 18 tap, tapped all the holes. And I was scared I was going to break the damn tap too, just because it seems like my luck that day.
Yeah.
But no problems there. And then I put the legs and everything on top of the table, which would have been upside down at this point.
Yep.
Right. Then put all the hardware in. And then I was like, how do I get this on the wheels? Like, what do I do now? So I pulled the engine hoist, the cherry picker over.
Okay.
Right. I called my father and I was like, I just want another set of eyes and maybe a little bit of muscle.
Yeah.
Make sure I'm not an idiot here. And so eventually we tipped it was the first step. So that was pretty easy because I just put a soft shackle through one of the receiver hitches that were in there.
Okay.
Lifted it up till it just tipped itself over. Was able to pull the furniture cart out. Then it was just laying on its side on the ground. And then we're like, okay, now what? Because if we lift it up, it continuously pulls it closer to the cherry picker.
Yep. So
what do? So we lifted it up and set it on the legs of the cherry picker. So it was just off the ground.
Okay.
Then I turned the all the strapping around. I put a soft shackle through the receiver hitch, which was at the top. I used a tree saver and I went down around the bottom of the table and then connected the engine hoist with another soft shackle down at the base. So then when it lifted, it was pulling it
rotational leverage.
It was leverage up and away.
Got it.
And when we got to roughly 45 degrees, my dad and I just tilted it by hand down.
Okay.
More controlled because we didn't want it slamming down on the wheels and hurting the wheels possibly. So yeah, that worked out fine.
That's the same way you roll a vehicle.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Side by sides, at least. That's how I do side by sides.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. So that worked out and that took probably a solid 2 days to build that thing.
Yeah.
But and I was thinking back to one of the times we were talking about like how stupid it is that you put so much work and effort into something when you can buy things. I was thinking about that. I'm like, this was 2 days of work. And if I charged myself, that would be a lot of money. But for the most part, I didn't have to spend very much money on the metal. And you can't really buy this table.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah. No.
You can't get it.
Not inch and an eighth.
Not an inch and an eighth tabletop.
Yeah. With receiver hitches built into the legs and the platform. And everything.
Exactly. So I was like, I think it's time well spent.
Yeah.
And I've already used it for the most part.
Perfect.
Yeah. Not to weld with, but I've used it as a tabletop and storage. So anyways, stepping back just a hair. All I have left to do on the table that I really want to do is I have a base to put on at the bottom for the shelf, which I'm getting some like hog wire for, more or less is what it looks like. So it's these like 1.5 or 2 inch squares with holes that stick through so that I can set like my grinder or something down there or some metal or whatever down there, and any dirt or debris or whatever will fall through.
Okay.
And it'll still hold up some weight. And the other thing I want to do is I want to get some sort of hinge on one of the legs that would be the front or face of the vehicle of the cart, and put like a piece of plate that sticks off of it with some sort of rods in there, or maybe some like, I don't know, some rebar or something, so that I can just slide grinding wheels or discs or whatever on there. And then I can have a place to mount my grinder on it as well. And I sort of want it to be hinged so that I could put stuff on each side.
Yeah.
And I don't need it to go I only want maybe 16 inches out or something. I guess that would be about half of the length of the between the legs. So, and then I can put 2 or 3 disc sizes and then mount the grinder on there and then do more discs on the backside.
One thing that I would do if I had a portable table, portable welding table, would be to install power onto the table.
Yeah.
That way you have one extension cord going from wherever your power is in the shop, whatever you're plugged into, to the table. And then you can have multiple grinders, mag drill, whatever.
That's smart.
Plugged in at the table itself. And the other thing is have a spot for clamps.
Yeah. That's another thing I want to do.
So,
I don't want to just throw all my clamps down on the base shelf.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, I don't know if I want to do this, but I've been thinking about creating some sort of drawer just to be my catch-all for clamps. I think some sort of rod or something that spans a side so I can just put clamps on might be my answer.
Yep.
Or maybe, now that I'm talking about it, maybe just a piece of flat bar that goes between the legs that I literally can just clamp it to.
I mean, a lot of times clamps, whether it's a C clamp, F clamp, vice grip clamps, they all have a hook on them of some sort.
Yeah.
So you just need something for them to sit on top of and hook on top of and hang from.
Yeah. So maybe another bar or something that can go across from leg to leg or something that I can do that. Yeah. See, that's definitely something. I don't want to put that on the front, what I would consider the front.
Okay.
Because then that kind of would limit me getting to the shelf that's back there. But I could do that on a side for sure. Or maybe I do that on another hinge.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
True.
There's a lot of stuff. I like both of those. I was thinking about doing something for the clamps. For the time being, I was just going to throw them on the bottom, though that wasn't because I want to start working on Samantha.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, to some extent, I want to be done with the welding table so I can move on. But there are a few more things that I want to do. But I don't know how hard it would be to just put a rod between things. So that might be something I get done for the clamps as well. But those are the few things I have left to do for the welding table.
Nice.
But it's great. I mean, I've already wheeled it around a little bit. I've already thrown crap on top of it. I've already used it as a flat surface to measure stuff on. It's pretty rad.
Nice.
So I need to put it back in its place. And at some point here in the semi-near future, I want to build the small, portable welding table.
Okay.
That I will use as more of a rollout into the front on the front pad in front of the shop and do a lot of dirty work out there.
Yeah.
That I'll use for that. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if the second one will go a lot quicker then, now that you kind of figured out how you like it set up. I mean, it's not the same production and setup and measurements and everything, but
I already have.
You know what you want in mind now.
Yeah. Even if I still have some of the legs that I've used for that table that I could use for the new table. But this new one's it's more or less 2x3.
Yeah.
And these legs are 3x3. Right. So it's, taking up if I'm leaving 3. So on the welding table I just built, I have more or less a 3-inch gap for clamping onto the table all the way around the table.
Yeah.
So if I do the same thing, I'm 6 inches in by 3x3, 6 more inches in for my 3x3 legs.
Yeah.
So I've got what, a foot?
Yeah. 1 to 2 feet
in the middle.
The dimensions. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's at this point, I'm worried that it might be tall and skinny and want to tip over.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly if I'm going to do the same. I do have some other ideas of just making the top area completely out of receiver tubing so that you can kind of stick a receiver in almost any way. And I saw that on Dirt Lifestyle Nate's video that he did. He didn't talk about it, but when he scanned through by and he showed his welding table, I paused. And I was looking at it and trying to figure out what did he do? How is his welding table made? How should I make mine?
Yeah.
And I saw the layout of the receiver tubing. I'm like, that's clever. I might think about that. And for a small table, won't use a lot of receiver tubing.
Yeah.
So that might work out. But yeah, there's a few more things there that I want to do eventually. I'm probably just going to put that metal away, storage, temporary, get to it eventually after I get maybe if I have a time when I'm waiting for parts or something for Samantha, it's like I have a lag in my time. I might
Work on that more.
pull that out and work on that table at that point or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I like it.
yeah. Besides that, then, so that was Friday and Saturday day.
Okay.
Saturday night. That weekend we didn't have the assistant or the mini assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So the assistant and I went to the Sac Republic soccer game.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So that was fun. And then
you guys do like the soccer games here.
Yeah. Well, I played soccer my entire life growing up. I enjoy soccer. I'm a season ticket holder for the Sac Republics.
Okay.
And I have been since season 1 when they opened.
They started,
and I don't go to a lot of the games, and like I have considered getting rid of the season tickets, just because, it's like I don't utilize them like a season ticket holder really should. But I do see it as a way. I mean, and this is how I see it. It's probably not anywhere close, but I see it as a way to give back to the soccer community to try to encourage growth. Like, as I'm a season ticket holder, I want this team to become MLS.
Yeah.
Not because I want to pay more for season tickets, but I want there to be more growth in soccer in the United States.
Okay.
Granted, probably a lot of my money that I give them goes to the players or goes to the coaching facility or coaching staff.
But it allows professional soccer to be played.
Yes.
Here in Sacramento, which we've never really had that before.
No.
And with having the professional soccer team here, there's more draw as entertainment, as people to go and do something.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe it'll inspire some kids to play soccer because you have season ticket holders.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And I do know that, and I'm not sure how it entirely works, but I'm pretty sure we've already been, well, at one point we were approved for MLS, but we didn't have a stadium built yet.
Yeah.
And the person that was funding the stadium backed out for some reason.
Oh, I didn't
Not
hear that part.
entirely sure.
Okay.
So the stadium has not been built or is not being built.
Okay.
And so we're not MLS because we don't have a stadium for it. And I don't know if, so we're in the
Well, I hear the Oracle Arena is up for grabs now.
Yeah, right. For sure.
But then we lose them in Sacramento.
Yeah. Yes. So I don't know if we ever get a stadium, if we instantly become MLS or if we have to reapply to become MLS. I'm not sure how that all works, but that is the main reason that I continue to support the Sac Republics is just because I enjoyed soccer. It was one of my funnest. I was a soccer and swimmer growing up. I enjoyed soccer a lot because of the team sport aspect of it. I enjoyed swimming a lot because it's a team sport, but it's very individually motivating. Yep. So it was two sides of a coin on that one. Yeah. So, anyway, so Saturday we went to the Sac Republic soccer game.
Okay.
It was also Father's Day weekend. Yep. So so the assistant drove. I had a beer. She had a beer. Or a Truly or whatever they have. It was a Topo Chico or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Topo Chicos.
Yeah.
The secretary just started getting on Topo Chicos.
Nice. Yeah. And then I had a second beer because she said she would drive. On the way home, I suggested, let's stop at a bar. So we stopped at a bar. I had a White Russian. Okay. Or Caucasian Russian or whatever you want to call them nowadays. And Negroni.
They're actually white Ukrainians now.
White Ukrainians.
Jimmy?
That's right. Sorry. My bad.
Come on.
Yeah. Dude abides. She had another drink and then she didn't have another one there. And then we went home and I was plowed. I don't know why I was so drunk.
You just had 2 beers
and 2 beers and 2 cocktails.
Yeah. That's not like you.
Yeah. Normally I can handle that. Yeah. So I think I was just dehydrated for the last few days. Like, and I ate dinner, I ate food, but I don't know.
Welding dehydrates you quick, man. Yeah. If you're doing a lot of welding and metal fabrication. Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought I was staying up on my hydration, but the only excuse I have is that I was dehydrated. Otherwise,
just go with that, Jimmy. Just go.
Yeah. Otherwise, I can't handle myself anymore. But I was drunk and I had the spins. Like, we tried to go to bed and I had to sit up and I was put my foot on the ground, all the old
you
tricks.
would be so disappointed.
Oh, I know. I would be so embarrassed for myself. Yeah. So I didn't go to bed till late. And then the next day was Father's Day. The assistant got up and out of bed. I stayed in bed till like 11 because I was hungover. She brought me water and Tylenol and stuff. And I started feeling better. I didn't feel good until like that afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah. It was bad. We went over to my parents' house, celebrated Father's Day. We got the mini assistant back. We went over to my parents' house, celebrated Father's Day with my brother's family, my family, and my parents. Got some fun gifts for Father's Day and got an axe. Thank you. Speaking of that,
cool. Yeah.
I forgot to bring your axe back.
I keep forgetting you have that.
Yeah. I told the assistant I wanted an axe. I was like, I used Tyler's axe the other day when he brought it up here, and I used it like a few weeks ago, and I was like, I need something like this. We don't even have a splitting axe. Like we don't have an axe at all. We have a hatchet and a chainsaw. Yeah. And we have a double-sided axe of some kind.
Those are more looks in my opinion.
Yeah. And it's not heavy. It's like only like maybe 2 pounds, 3 pounds. It's not a heavy thing.
That's for fighting dragons then. That's
exactly
what that's for.
Yeah. Keeping the squirrels at bay.
Yeah.
But so I said I wanted an axe like Tyler's, and the assistant reached out to you, I know, and talked.
So it's funny. She reached out to me. She goes, "What kind of axe does this that we have of yours?" And I was like, "I don't know. Do you have my wood splitting axe or my chopping axe?" And she goes, "Huh?" I was like, "Okay, let's figure this out."
Yeah.
So I went down this big rabbit hole, and I had to go out in my garage and find my other axe to figure out which one you guys had. And then, it was just funny. It was a whole funny thing because I was like, an axe. What's different about axes? But no, there's differences in axes.
There's lots of differences. Yeah, for sure. So she got a felling axe.
Yep.
I think is what she concluded on. She got a husky version, which I think is the same thing.
I sent her the exact same thing as what I had.
Yeah. She picked it up, and I forgot what happened, but I came home, and all of a sudden there's an axe in our kitchen. And I was like, why is Tyler's axe in here? And then she's like, oh, don't worry about that. That was on like
a couple weeks ago or something?
Friday or whatever, a few days before. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it was so funny how she wrapped it. It was like this tiny, like wine, a little bit, maybe larger than a wine size gift bag, only over the head of the axe, and the whole handle was still sticking out of the bag. Yeah. So that was funny. So I got an axe. What else? I got something else. I got a bottle of whiskey, and then my parents donated some money towards our master bathroom.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
nice.
They donated some money to my brother, some project he has going on. And then they donated a little bit of money towards, our master bathroom project. So that was really nice of them.
Nice.
The next day, not quite recovered. My buddy Aiden came up. He now lives in LA. Aiden is a friend from van life. Not that I was ever in van life, but it seems like my hippie buddies that used to live at my house.
So you seem to keep collecting van life buddies, friends.
Seem to bring their van life people around. And a lot of their van life people have now bought Toyotas. So my buddy Hawk has a Toyota Tacoma now.
Okay.
My buddy Aiden has a 79 series Troopy Landcruiser. And Mac and Owen, who we interviewed them up at PNW. I've talked to them before. They were van life people, friends with Hawk and Ken's back in the day. And now they have the brand new Tundra. Yep. With a 4-wheel underground camper on it.
4-wheel camper.
4-wheel camper. Yeah.
I was like, Brian's making campers now?
I wish. Yeah.
What?
4-wheel camper. And underground suspension. I wish. That'd be badass though, huh? Yeah. Excuse the slip there. So a few friends in the van life community I've become friends with. And so Aiden came up a few years ago and we leveled his Troopy. Yep. Because the rear end was sagging. So all we really did for that is we just put on longer shackles. Okay. And that solved the day. Then he came up I think he was just passing through one time. He drove up. He had like a 90s 3rd gen pickup with a little sleeping camper in the back. I don't know how he did. because it's like a 6-foot bed and that kid's like 6'3". So I don't know how he slept sideways in it or something. I don't know what he did.
Catty corner.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he traveled through then. And then, he just reached out to me and he's like, hey, I'm talking to Dobinsons. I'm going to get a new suspension underneath the Landcruiser. He's like, is Dobinsons a good company?
Yeah.
That was like his question. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And especially for him, because I'm like, nobody in the States knows your vehicle.
Yeah.
Like your vehicle is either just now being allowed into here.
Yeah.
It's a 2002
or 25 years. Sorry.
And his is a 2002. So he got snuck in with some weird rules. So I don't know exactly how he got it in. Regardless, nobody here knows much about it. Like granted, it's pretty much an 80 series on the underside. But it also has leaf springs in the rear.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know I was kind of confused, like, oh, what did it have? So so it has coils in the front, but not coilovers. It has coils and shocks.
Okay.
Separated. And then in the rear, it's leaf sprung.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's an X-Ray.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was a 2002. It might have been a 2004. I'm pretty sure it was a 2002 79 series Troopy.
Okay.
With the back half is cut off and a whole camper thing was put on.
Nice.
Really cool. It's been in the States a few years and it leaves the States for a few years. During COVID, he got stuck in Ecuador.
Oh, jeez.
And he ended up like finding some family friends that are Ecuadorian and that he lived at their farm for like 6 or 8 months before he was able to come home.
Wow.
And it's like, as soon as things opened up, he put his rig on a boat and shipped it home and flew home. And so he has some fun stories.
Wow.
He's also was one of the photographers for the Antarctic cruise that I went on, but he wasn't on my cruise. He was on another cruise.
Yeah.
He did the same trips, but he wasn't on board when I was on board.
Correct.
Yeah. So anyway, he worked with Dobinsons. I worked with him a little bit, worked with him to help him talk to Dobinsons because he has sort of a unique build because it has this camper on the back. He had to get the vehicle weighted. I told him to go get it weighed, go put the front 2 tires on the rig, try to drive about halfway, put the front 2 tires on the rig, get that weight, then do the rear 2 tires, get that weight, get the whole weight. So you can tell this to Dobinsons. Dobinsons was asking him questions about like, what leaf springs do you have now? He's like, I don't know. They're old school old man emus. Like, who knows? So they were going back and forth. A lot of it had to do with the weight of the vehicle because, I don't know if you saw the spring packs that came in. Gosh. So your employee, Ben, received the spring packs on Wednesday and put them into his, Bronco Sport.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, what are you using these for? The only thing I could think that you would need these for is Clifford. Because they were huge. I kid you not. They're at least 3-4 inches thick.
Wow. Leaf spring packs.
They weighed so much. It was ridiculous how heavy these things were.
Did they weigh more than a Toyota rear axle?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Probably with the third member. Probably. God. A mini truck rear axle with the third member and all axle shafts. I would probably say they're compatible or near each other. Yeah.
Wow.
A drum. If you have the drum brakes on, I don't know. Maybe the axle would beat it. If you have disc brakes, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. These things are heavy, but Dobinsons knocked it out of the park.
Really?
I mean, the install went pretty smooth. The biggest hiccup we had was when we took off one of his leaf springs, the center pin head was stuck in the perch. So it broke off. I don't know how the entire spring pack didn't come apart at that point in time. But it's still together. And we had a hard time getting that head of the center pin out of the perch. It's also spring under.
Okay.
So we weren't working on top. We're working underneath
everything.
Yeah. I tried drilling it on the edge, just trying to break it loose with some tension. That didn't break it off. We tried like just hitting it, like trying to make it get loose. That didn't knock it out. I tried welding a nut on it, but because I drilled the hole, it didn't have like a lot to grab onto.
Okay.
So the nut just ripped off. The weld just ripped in half. And then I said, okay, my last either resort is we're going to drill you a new center pin. And it's going to be slightly off center, or we can get in there with a Dremel and just slowly cut it away.
Yeah.
He's like, let's just take the time and do it right. And I said, okay. I said, how are your skills with the Dremel? And he's like, I'm pretty good. And I was like, okay. So I gave him like a carbide bit and the Dremel, and he went under there and he and he's all of a sudden, all right, done. I'm like, what do you mean you're done? Like, how are you done? And he's like, I just touched, it was spinning so fast and I touched it to it. It spun the whole thing out. I was like, damn it. We spent like an hour of futzing around trying to figure out how to get this thing out. And all of a sudden, it's just this magic touch and got it out. But then from there, everything went together really easily. After that, all the center pins lined up really well. Minus trying to lift those freaking leaf packs into place. But yeah, you connect the front at the front mount, the one that doesn't have the shackle, and then it's easy to lift it up, and then you can swing the shackle to wherever to get it to work right. Dobinsons gave him these beefy ass shackles. Oh, nice. Gnarly shackles. It had the 2 pins where it went through the mount at the frame, the one that went through the mount at the leaf spring, and then it had another like bolt that went in between. Crossbar back. It was like a weird triangle looking thing. And it was a little farther back, and it had a bolt that went through with a sleeve, so you couldn't compress it too much. Okay. And I think it just added another level of strength, being triangulated and everything, because those leaf springs are so heavy. How long are the shackles? They're probably 5 inches. Okay. So 5-inch shackles with a ton of weight on them. You need some extra bracing in there. Okay. Somewhere around there. I don't think they were 4. They may have been 4. They were pretty big. Front Dobinson springs in the front worked great. Swapping out all the shocks was pretty well, except for on one corner on driver's side rear. He had ripped off the shock point at one point and then had it repaired on the trail in some foreign countries in South America. And so it was just a little finicky because it wasn't stock. Okay. But it went on, we got it on, we had to compress the side so that we could have more angle to fit it on, and it worked out fine. Bushing might be a little squeezed one side than the other, but
they'll just replace his bushing in 2 years or something. Yeah,
pretty much. Greasable links all the way around. Really nice kit from Dobinsons. I think he got the IMS kit from Dobinsons. Okay. He said it's pretty much the MMR kit, but it doesn't have the remote reservoirs. Yeah. Okay. I was like, cool. So that was a lot of fun. It took us 7 hours to do the whole thing, I think, with the hiccup and the lunch break. So it worked out pretty well. And then he was like, okay, I've got a gig tomorrow. I didn't know if I was going to make it, but I'm going to drive to LA and I have a photo shoot with Beck. Wow. I'm like, oh, have fun with that. The musician? Yeah. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Nice. And he's like, I've been playing it by ear, but we got done at an okay time. I'm just gotta drive to LA now. Like, good luck. People that can do that amaze me. Yeah. We did take a spin. I got to drive it, and we took a spin around, and it felt good. I mean, it felt like a 7,000 pound vehicle. Yeah. But it felt great driving around. Nice. It was a lot of fun. It's a diesel. It has an extremely low first gear. Like, you're in first gear to get the tires starting to roll, and then you shift to second. Like you go, and then second. But took it down a dirt road that's nearby, bounced down the road at like 15, 20 miles an hour. Everything went great. Nice. He originally wanted to do this suspension kit because he has a weird squeak in the front that he couldn't figure out. And so his thought is, it's got to be something suspension, and the suspension's super old. We need to replace the suspension. The squeak is still there. So he's like, of course, what else is left? I'm like, well, we didn't replace any of the bushings. Like, you have your whole radius arm bushings that you could do, the 2 that are on the axle, the 1 that's at the frame. You have your sway bar bushings that, maybe these things are wearing out and it's just squeaking and sliding back and forth or something. Like, you have a lot of miles on this thing, and you can get these bushings going. And he's like, okay, that'll be the next thing on the list. Like, all right, perfect. But yeah, it was good to see him. Good to hang out. He showed up. It was funny. He showed up on Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, hey, man, cool. Glad you're here. You want to come in and have a drink or relax? And, we got a spare bedroom. And he's like, I'll sleep in my truck. Like these overlanders, man. Yep. It's like I had my van life friends, that family up and I was like, they wanted to move into a house and they're still staying in their van.
Yeah.
What is up with these people? They're so silly.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time. We had a wonderful time hanging out. It was great to see the guy. He's an interesting character. He's a photographer. He loves that profession. He's done a lot of the cruise ship stuff, done a few trips to Antarctica. And he told me, he's like, I really enjoy hanging out with people that have done the trip because they understand the trip. And a lot of people will ask him questions about the trip, but they have never experienced it.
Okay.
Right. And so it's fun for him to get with people that have actually done the trip and have experienced it so that he can talk about not relationships, but he can talk about the relationship with Antarctica or, the experience with Antarctica or, what it is. But apparently he said that the cruise I went on was Seabourn. And the ship was called the Quest. And the Quest has now been retired from doing that trip.
Yeah.
And it's now on its way up or is already on its way over to Alaska. And it's doing trips in Alaska. And they are no longer doing the cruise that I went on which was like 3 weeks long. They're now they have the option for 2 shorter trips, one down the Chilean coast or one down the Argentina's coast. And then you go to Antarctica and then you come back up to the tip of South America and you're done.
Okay.
To Ushuaia, which is the southern tip area, and you fly home from there.
Okay.
And so there's no longer the start on one side of South America, go down to Antarctica and head up the other side of South America. So they're done. So it's so he said he signed up for the last trip of the Quest doing that 3-week long adventure.
Okay.
And he got to take his now wife on that trip.
Oh, nice.
And so he was super stoked. So we talked quite a bit about that.
Nice.
Yeah. He said it was absolutely horrible weather. So it was super cold, stormy almost the entire time. And like we talked about it a few years ago now where they do the Antarctic plunge. He said, I was shocked how many people still wanted to do that. Like it was snowing and crazy outside and people still wanted to jump in. And he's like, as the photographer, I had to be out in a boat, in a Zodiac, out in the weather, taking photo of people jumping off of boat into the freezing water. He's like, it was stupid. And I was like, it was so fun to do though.
Yeah. Such a great story afterwards too. You get to say you jumped into the Antarctic Ocean in the middle of a snowstorm.
Yeah, exactly. Mine was a beautiful day, but it was a high of like 36.
Yeah.
So the 32-degree water wasn't very different from the ambient air. So it wasn't that bad.
Yep.
But yeah. So that's what I did. I did a 4-corner suspension upgrade on a vehicle that you almost never see, which is really fun, and got to play around with a little bit of Landcruisers and then finished the welding table.
Nice.
I brought Clifford down today so I can maybe, if we have some time after recording, we can load up some 4-wheel underground parts into Clifford. I do still have the axles to start prepping and doing, but I figured at some point I can take the stuff.
Yeah.
I did bring the Yes Welder over as well. And MORRFlate Ryan hooked me up with some tubing to connect up the plasma cutter setup at the back of the Yes Welder.
Nice.
So I can cut the brackets off the axles much easier.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm at some serious prepping stages to start working on Samantha.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's going to be exciting.
I am getting excited.
Yeah.
I'm eager to get onto this thing. At some point during my life in the last year or whatever, I said, well, I'll try to get it ready for Rubathon.
Yeah.
And I'm really about to start now that Rubathon's coming up. Yeah. So not making any promises. I'm really hoping to be able to finish it by the end of the year.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
Sweet.
Sort of.
Well, I like it. I think you can do it.
I think so too. I'm getting there. I'm getting ready. The shop is getting cleaner by the day. Got dirty over the weekend, but a few projects happening. So I just need to reorganize, clean up again, move the table into place because it's right smack dab in the middle of everything right now. But I'll put that bottom shelf on once I get that from Hustle Nuts. And get everything organized in the welding area. Maybe put the vise clamps and everything in place.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I do need to figure out, and maybe a listener has a suggestion, is I put the hitch receiver tubings in so I could mount a vise onto a plate to slide with the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just put that in or out. And I have some bench grinders that I can just put in and out. Where do I store those things if they're not on the table?
I would put them down in the shelf.
Yeah.
On the bottom of the table.
So should I mount some more hitch receivers down there so I could just slide them in? The vise I have is so freaking heavy. I thought about mounting it on like a leg and then you could just turn them sideways and
rotate,
put them into place
kind of thing.
But I don't want to, my thought is just set it down at that point.
Yeah.
But if somebody has an idea, cause they're going to be it'll be a vise. I have a very heavy, big vise on a piece of plate that is on receiver tubing. That's probably going to be 2-ish feet long.
Yeah.
Like if I don't have that in the table, what do I do with it?
Yeah.
do I store it somewhere or does it just literally live in the table?
I think ultimately it's going to end up living in the table.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how often you want to move it out of the table to work on stuff on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can find a way to work around it, then I think it's just going to live there. But
the bench grinder that's not nearly as heavy is going to be just down on the shelf.
That'd be my guess.
That might be. But if anybody has a good solution to that, or you've done something like this to your welding table or fab area, let me know.
Yep.
I just thought of this. Another thing I could do in theory would flip it upside down and put it back in the receiver tubing. It wouldn't be fully away, but it would be not anywhere on the top surface.
Yeah, true.
If I really wanted to, I could flip it over and shove it in underneath the table and hide it, but then it might have
upside
some leg.
That'd be hard to get in there.
I'd have to lay down and bench press it up.
Yeah.
So let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any suggestions, you can reach me at Snail Trail 4x4 on Instagram or phone in. Tell us about your welding table or things that you've done to your welding situations that helped you out. You can do that at area code 916-345-4744.
Mm-hmm.
You can also DM to Tyler. If you want,
if you just want to
say hi or wish him luck on Babyland,
yep.
You can do that at 4x4 Toyota Tyler. And you can always reach us at Jimmy or Tyler at snailtrail4x4.com for emails.
Sweet. I guess with that, Jimmy, any final words for everybody out there?
Yes, welder, man. That thing was I started figuring it out and it was welding very well. I was very happy with it.
I'm a little sad I didn't hold on to mine and I sold it, but I'm sad that I did. It was a great buy. They worked great. So
they now came out with a 7-in-1 or something like that.
They still don't have one that can do AC and DC.
No.
To be able to TIG weld aluminum. So anyways, my last words are, I still have a secret to tell everybody. But I can't tell anybody. So anyways, with that, my friends, keep crawling.
I got one for you.
Okay.
Why couldn't the sesame seed leave the gambling casino?
He didn't have the buns for it?
Because he was on a roll.
Oh, okay. I was heading in the right direction.
You were there. You were going. Definitely.
You're just trying to egg me on. So I keep playing your game.
I'll keep rolling with the punches.
There you go.